Watch your step.
Yes, ma'am.
You'll place your left hand on the Bible and raise your right. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. You'll have a seat on the witness stand. Adjust that microphone. And if you don't mind stating your full name again and spelling your last name.
I'm Alec Murdaugh, Murdaugh. Good morning.
Mr. Murdaugh, on June 7th, 2021, did you take this gun or any gun like it and shoot your son Paul in the chest in the feed room at your property off Moselle Road?
No, I did not.
Mr. Murdaugh, did you take this gun or any gun like it and blow your son's brains out on June 7th or any day or any time?
No, I did not.
Mr. Murdaugh, did you take a 300 blackout, such as this, and fire it into your wife Maggie's leg, torso, or any part of her body?
No, I did not.
Did you shoot a 300 blackout into her head, causing her death?
Mr. Griffin, I didn't shoot my wife or my son anytime. Ever.
Mr. Murdaugh, is that you on the kennel video at 8:44 p.m. on June 7th, the night Maggie and Paul were murdered?
It is.
Were you in fact at the kennels at 8:44 p.m. on the night Maggie and Paul were murdered?
I was.
Did you lie to SLED Agent Owen and Deputy Laura Rutland on the night of June 7th and told them that you stayed at the house after dinner?
I did lie to them.
Did you lie to Agent Owen and Agent Croft on the follow-up interview on June 10th that the last time you saw Maggie and Paul was at dinner?
I did lie to them.
And in the interview of August 11th, did you tell Agent Owen and Agent Croft, did you lie to them by telling them that you were not down at the kennels on that night?
Yes.
Alec, why did you lie to Agent Owen, Agent Croft, and Deputy Rutland about the last time you saw Maggie and Paul?
As my addiction evolved over time, I would get in these situations or circumstances where I would get paranoid thinking. It could be anything that triggered it. It might be a look somebody gave me. It might be a reaction somebody had to something I did. It might be a policeman following me in a car. That night, June 7th, after finding Mags and Paul, don't talk to anybody without Danny with you. All my partners were repeatedly telling me that. I had a deputy sheriff taking gunshot test from my hands. I'm sitting in a police car with David Owen asking me about my relationship with my wife and my son. And all those things coupled together after finding them, coupled with my distrust for SLED, caused me to have paranoid thoughts. Normally, when these paranoid thoughts would hit me, I could take a deep breath real quick and think about it, reason my way through it, and get past it really quickly. On June the 7th, I wasn't thinking clearly. I don't think I was capable of reason. And I lied about being down there. And I'm so sorry that I did. I'm sorry to my son Buster. I'm sorry to Grandma and Papa T. I'm sorry to both of our families. Most of all, I'm sorry to Mags and Pawpaw. I would never intentionally do anything to hurt either one of them, ever.
Did you continue lying after that night? Did you not?
Once I lied, I continued to lie, yes, sir.
Why?
Oh, what a tangled web we weave. But once I told the lie, I told my family I had to keep lying.
Alex, tell the jury what happened on the evening of June 7th, starting when you met with Paul.
I'd been at work that day, a fairly normal day. You mean start in the morning or
Sure, start in the morning.
regular morning? Maggie was leaving to go out of town. She was going to a doctor's appointment, and she had some stuff to do at Edisto, where she was having some work done on our house at Edisto. Maggie was there that morning. She went to leave, and she told me she was doing these things. I always asked Maggie to come back home and stay with me. Anyway, Maggie had left. She did her thing. I went to work, did work. I learned from Paul that
Who's Paul?
that's Paul, my son Paul, Murdaugh.
And your name for him was Paul.
Yeah, we called him Paul.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
And Buster, Maggie, I called him Paul or Paul Terry, but Mags called him Paul. Buster called him Paul. A lot of people called him Paul. But anyway, I learned about I had known that CB, the guy that worked for us, had sprayed the sunflowers. I knew about that, but I'd been out of town. I didn't know they were dead. Paul let me know they had died. So we had to replant the dove field. That's our dove field, which the dove field is just it's a big social part of having property. People would come, and it's just a social big part of it. So the dove field was a big deal. So when the sunflowers got killed, we knew they were dead. Paul was coming home, and I learned that early Monday morning.
And we'll catch back up, but at some point in time, did you meet up with Paul?
Yeah, after work, I met Paul at the property.
And we're going to backfill and talk about more of the day, but I just want to focus in on that evening right now.
Okay.
When Paul gets to the property, what do y'all do?
First thing we do is we go to the dove field, and we look at the dove field. And
How did you get to the dove field?
he had come in my brother's truck. We got in my son Buster's black pickup truck. We called it Buster's truck, or the black pickup truck. You've heard it called too, but I call it Buster's truck.
Okay, so you're in Buster's truck, and you go to the dove field. Tell the jury what else.
Well, that's the first thing we do. We go to the dove field and we look, and it was clearly it didn't. You could tell they were. I mean, you could tell they'd been sprayed, and you could tell they were dead. They might have still had a tiny bit of life, but they were dead. So we knew that. So we knew we had to replant the whole field. So that didn't take but a second. But after that, Paul, we just rode the property. We spent time together. We rode around and we spent time together on the property.
Did you go to the duck pond?
Oh yeah, we went to several food plots. We went to a single oak stand, we called it, which is across the road. I know we went to the bridge stand. We went to the duck pond where we stayed for a minute. And
Did you?
I can remember the duck pond specifically because I had helped Paul plant the dove field and the corn in the dove field. So sunflowers, corn, and I had helped him plant the corn in the dove field. Paul had planted the duck pond by himself, and he's making a really big deal to me about how much better the corn was doing in the duck pond than it was in the dove field. We stayed there for a little while. We rode. We were at the cabin for a little while. We rode around the cabin looking at it.
No, cabin is what?
It's just a little small. It's truly a cabin. It's a 4-room structure. It's got a little living area, a little kitchen, and it's got 2 little bedrooms and 1 little bathroom. And that's what you've heard talk about, where the kids stayed some summers. And
Is that what the jury has seen? Some overhead pictures. It's right there on Moselle Road.
yeah, it's right up on Moselle Road, and it's very close to the driveway that goes to the shop and the kennels.
Did you spend any time at the shop, you think?
Oh yes, the shop was the hub. That was the main place. If you weren't at the house, you might be out going to this field or this food plot or this duck pond or this part of the river, but the shop where the kennels were located. You were always there. Something was always going on there. You're always doing something there. That's where all the tools were. That's where all the equipment was kept. That was the main hub.
Right.
And we were there that day. There was a point in time where we unloaded a bulldozer that had been on a different part of the property. It was on a trailer. We unloaded it and sprayed it down real quick. That was one of the many things we did that day.
One of the things the jury's seen, Alec, is a Snapchat video of you and doing something with a tree. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah.
And so what was happening there?
That's part of when we were riding. That particular location where that was is at a food plot that we called Sawtooth Oaks, and it was named that because there were some sawtooth oaks that were planted there that you can't see in the picture. But what that tree is, at all these food plots, there's an area where it's not as big as a field, but it's like a field where you plant vegetation for wildlife. Like it might be cowpeas or soybeans, but you plant, and then there's a feeder to attract deer. Then we planted these little fruit trees on these stands, and what you see me doing is fooling with a fruit tree that I'd been tending to. It had fallen over. I had straps on it. I had strings on it that were holding it up. One of the strings popped. I undid the other string, and it was falling over, and Pawpaw was laughing at me, trying to get it back upright. And it was the fruit tree that I'd been dealing with for years, and it wouldn't stand up straight.
And were you and Paul having a good time at that point?
You could not be around Pawpaw. You could not be around him and not have a good time.
Were you close to Paul?
You couldn't be any closer than Pawpaw and I and Buster and I were and are. He's just wonderful. Wonderful.
And it's one of the things you enjoyed doing together was riding the property?
I love doing anything with Pawpaw. It was an absolute delight. But yeah, one of the things, Paul was passionate about a lot of things, but that property was really a passion of his. He loved to work it. He loved to work the fields. He loved to work the food plots. He loved to hunt. He'd work on the roads. He would work on all of it. He would work on the structure. He worked on the whole property. It was his passion.
So on the evening of the 7th, the jury's been inundated with data from various different sources, but ballpark, can you, knowing what we know now after reviewing everything, but roughly when do you remember Paul getting there and you getting there and starting to ride the property?
Now that I've had the benefit of seeing all of these records, Pawpaw got home, I believe, a little bit before 7 o'clock. And I got home a little bit before him. I think the details have been that I got home around 6:42 or 6:45 or something like that, and Paul got there very quickly thereafter,
And then,
by 7 o'clock.
so you rode the property for a while. Do you remember when Maggie arrived?
Yeah, it was later than that. It was 8 or after 8. I think it was after 8 and looking at the records. A little bit after 8.
And do you remember her arriving or where you were when she arrived?
I believe that I was at the shop when she came through, which would not be unusual for her having been away. If Blanca had gotten the mail or somebody had gotten the mail, maybe not, but if somebody had not gotten the mail, it would be perfectly normal for her to pull through there. And I believe she did pull through there that day. And Paul and I were at the shop, I believe.
And then what did you do after Maggie arrived?
Maggie went to the house, and I know that. But shortly after, however I learned that Maggie got home, I went to the house when Maggie got home, and I left Paul at the shop.
So, and what'd you do when you got to the house?
I saw Mags, talked to Mags, and I took a shower.
That we saw in that Snapchat video was that the clothes you had on, at work that day?
Yes, those are the clothes I had on at work that day.
And the jury's seen you in those clothes. On June 7th, how tall were you and how much did you weigh?
On June 7th, well, I'm a hair over 6'4", right at 6'4". On June the 7th, I was about 265 pounds, 264, 265.
And this was in June, June 7th.
Yes, sir.
You know, when you're outside, riding around and doing, do you get hot and sweaty?
Absolutely. Paul and I had done some things. We unloaded the bulldozer, cleaned the bulldozer. We'd fooled around. Yeah, I sweated. I was heavy, and taking prescription pills also makes you sweat worse, or at least taking oxycodone makes you sweat more than you normally do.
So was it unusual for you to take a shower when you got back to the house?
Not at all.
And after you took a shower, what did you change into?
I changed into the clothes that you've seen in this trial, shorts and the shirt.
Okay. When you got out of the shower and changed clothes, what'd you do next?
I went back out where Mags and Pawpaw were, and
What were
for
they
dinner.
doing? What was going on?
Mags had, as you've heard, Blanca had prepared dinner, but it had been cooked earlier. Mags had fixed, I know Mags had fixed mine and her plate because I didn't fix a plate. She may have fixed Pawpaw. Pawpaw was eating, and Pawpaw was almost done eating by the time I got back out, which also wasn't unusual. Pawpaw was always on the go. He never sat still. And he'd sit down to eat, but then he's going on to his next item.
And
Then Maggie and I ate.
do you all eat at the table? Do you eat at the den? What's your normal habit?
We would do both, but when we ate at the table, it was really more formal or not formal, but more of an organized thing. What we would normally do on a regular evening is we would eat in the den in front of the TV. And that's where we ate that day. I ate on the couch, the table. Maggie had a little TV tray that she kept over there, and Pawpaw would usually sit in a recliner and eat off of the ottoman.
And was the TV on?
Yes,
Was that normal for the TV to be on?
yes. TV, if we were in the house, the TV was on.
So what happened next, Alan?
Pawpaw moved on doing whatever he was doing. I don't know if he was in the gun room doing something, or he was in his room doing something, or he was outside doing something. I actually thought he'd gone to the shed, to the shop, but in looking at the benefit of having these records that we have, I know he was still at the house or somewhere around the house doing something, but he wasn't in there with Maggie and I. But Maggie wanted to go to the kennels, and I had eaten dinner. I laid back on the couch where I was sitting. Maggie wanted to go to the kennels, and she asked me to go, and I didn't go at that time. I didn't want to go.
Why didn't you want to go?
It was hot. Had a shower. I knew I'd end up doing more work, sweating more, and the dogs is always a chaotic scene, and I didn't want to go right then.
Well, let me ask you, what had you done the previous days, like Friday and Saturday and Sunday?
Start with Friday, or
Yeah.
go backwards?
Yeah, start with Friday.
All right,
Just
on that.
briefly.
So 7th, 6th, 5th, 4th. So June the 4th, my dad was in the hospital in Savannah, Georgia, at Memorial Hospital. And I went down to visit him Friday afternoon, and I stayed with him in the hospital. Spent the night there. He was real sick. He was having a hard time.
Did you get much sleep Friday night?
No, I had a real sweet nurse found me. At first there was a hard chair in there like this, but a nurse found me a soft chair like a recliner. So I slept, but I didn't sleep. I didn't get a night's sleep. No, sir.
And then Saturday and Sunday?
Saturday, we had plans with Buster and Brooklyn. Y'all have heard about Brooklyn. It's Buster's wonderful little girlfriend. And Mags and I had plans with them to meet them in Columbia, to go to the South Carolina it was a regional baseball tournament. And South Carolina was playing Virginia, I believe. So when I got back from Savannah and met up with Mags, at some point we headed to Columbia. So there wasn't a lot going on in between there. So we headed up to Columbia and met Bus in Brooklyn.
And you did you stay in Columbia Saturday night?
We did. We went to the ball game, and I remember it was an evening game. We went pretty early and tailgated. Maggie had reconnected with a college friend who coincidentally had married a college friend of mine, and they had a son that played for Carolina. He was a first baseman and a really good little player. And we met them and tailgated with them, and it was a lot of fun. They had a lot of the parents of the players that were playing for Carolina, and it was a fun time. We tailgated, and then we went to, and it was a night game, so we went to the game, and the game got over. It was fairly late into the evening, and after that, Bus, and Brooklyn, and Mags and I believe we went to the restaurant in the hotel where we were staying, but we went and had dinner, and then Bus and Brooklyn went home, and of course Maggie and I went to our room.
And then get up the next day, was there another game?
Another game the next day. That's right. And
then after that, you head back to Moselle with Maggie?
yeah, we went to the game. That's right. Mags and I go back to Moselle.
The jury's heard about, I think Ms. Rass talked about you bringing Krispy Kreme donuts to your dad.
Maggie loved to. She spoiled my dad, and always taking him something. My dad loved sweets, and she and I picked up donuts and took Krispy Kreme donuts to him.
And then y'all both spent the night together at Moselle on Sunday night. Did you both spend the night at Moselle on Sunday night?
Yes.
And then the 7th was a work day?
That's right. It was a Monday, June the 7th.
Hang on. I'll rephrase it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Was Monday the 7th a work day for you?
Yes.
Okay. And I just wanted to give that background. And so moving forward to when you testified previously about Maggie asking you to go to the kennels, were you tired?
Oh, yes, I was tired.
And you had just had a shower?
Just had a shower.
And you said that, did you go with Maggie to the kennels
No.
immediately?
No, I did not.
What'd you do? What did she leave?
Yes, she did. She left and Paw was gone.
Do you know how she got to the kennels?
At the time I didn't, but now looking at these condensed records, understanding the timeline, it's clear to me that she rode with Paw.
Okay. And did you stay in the house?
Yes.
For how long?
Not long. I laid back on the couch, put my feet up, and many times when Maggie asked me to do something that I didn't want to do or didn't start out doing, I changed my mind and decided I'm going to ride up there. And I did.
And how did you get to the kennels?
I went on a golf cart.
Was the golf cart at the house, the main house?
Yeah. It was there most of the time.
And when you got down to the kennels, what was happening?
Is what I thought it was. It was a little bit of chaos. It was clear to me that Mags had let the dogs out. The two dogs that were out were really her pet dogs. One is Grady. You've heard about a black lab. That's Grady. That's Buster's dog. And the other is the yellow lab that you've heard about. That's Bubba. Bubba was mine and Maggie's dog, but it was really mine, Maggie's, Bus, and Pawpaw's dog. It was a family dog, but Bubba's the dog I hunted. Maggie loved Bubba. She loved Grady too, but she had a special place for Bubba. But anyway, when the dogs first were let out, the first thing they would do is they would run. If you look at the overhead picture that you've seen, there were planted pines right behind the kennels. So you got the kennels and the chicken coop form an L shape. And in that L was some planted pines. First thing the dogs would do is go out in that kennel, and Bubba And Grady, I think, learned this from Bubba, but Grady would do it too. But Bubba had to mark every tree. I mean, he would go and he'd do a little number on this tree and that tree. My dogs do, and it's marking his territory. So that was the first thing those dogs did when they came out. When I got there, those dogs were in that area. So that's why I believe that it hadn't been long before they'd been let out. Grady was chasing guineas, which was a normal thing to do.
What are guineas?
Guinea fowl is a guinea fowl is it's like a chicken. It's a domestic bird that we had them. They make a lot of racket. It's like a guard bird, because anytime they make a lot of racket, anytime anything unusual is going on. If anything disturbs them, it could be a person, it could be somebody driving up, whatever. They're gonna make a lot of racket. So Grady's chasing the guineas. Paul's fooling with Rogan's dog Cash. Maggie's standing there watching the dogs, which is normal, and they were in that place. As the dogs are out longer, they branch out more. But at that point in time, they were right there. So that told me they hadn't been out a long time. Bubba catches a chicken. I'm talking to Maggie for a short time before Bubba catches the chicken. I take the chicken, I put it, when Bubba didn't chase, these dogs didn't chase the chickens to kill them. And they didn't normally kill them. They did kill them sometimes, but it was about the chase with those dogs. And they were proud when they caught one. You can tell by the way Bubba would prance to you when he brought chicken to you. He was proud that he had caught it, but he wasn't trying to kill it. And so most times the chicken wasn't dead, and that chicken wasn't dead. But a lot of times they would be stunned and they would be real lethargic. So you had to take the chicken and you had to put it up somewhere where the chicken could be by itself for a minute, and it would eventually, usually, come back to normal and go on about its whatever a chicken does.
Did you get the chicken out of Bubba's mouth?
I did. I took the chicken from Bubba and I put it on top of that.
Now we've seen this video of Paul with Cash, Rogan's dog. Did you know that was going on? What do you remember about that?
Yeah, I knew Paul was fooling with. When I pulled up on the golf cart, Maggie was standing back, sort of where the driveway would be. It sort of runs out at the feed room. The storage room's what we call it. It's been called the feed room. But it sort of ran out. Maggie was a little bit further up where she could see back in that angle where the dogs were. Paul was fooling with Rogan's dog back towards the kennel. If I remember when I first got there, Paul was more in the driveway, but then I knew Paul was in the kennel fooling with Cash, yes. But did I know what he was doing? I didn't know exactly what he was doing, no. I knew he was fooling with his tail.
Well, was Cash in the kennel when you pulled up, you think?
Not when I first got there.
Okay. Did Bubba or Grady have any collars on?
Yes.
Both dogs? One dog? Do you remember?
I don't know about Grady, but I know Bubba had on his what we call a tracking collar. Paul, for his hunting dogs, Paul had a series of tracking collars, and I think there were 5. It might have been 6, but it's a tracking collar that had a device that would tell you where that collar was, so that Bubba was bad about he would stay close for a minute, but then he would take off, and he especially do that on Maggie. He would take off and run, and so he had on a tracking collar that if he did that, you could know, okay, he's a half a mile down here. It's not going to follow him, but so far, but it would follow a good long distance, so you could go get the dog if he ran off, which Bubba frequently would do, especially when it was just Mags and Bubba. Paul probably would have been the one to put that on Bubba.
So you've got us where you've gotten the chicken out of Bubba's mouth and put it up on a doghouse or something?
I believe what I put it on, and I don't remember this, but I've seen pictures and all this, and I saw the chicken sitting on top of what looks to me like a portable dog crate. Wherever it was sitting on there is where I would have put it up there. I don't have any reason to believe anybody else moved that chicken, and that chicken did die.
And what did you do after you got the chicken out of Bubba's mouth?
I got out of there. I left. I went back to the house.
All right. Well, before we do that, we've seen the dog kennel video with Cash and Mr. Davis, and we slowed it down for him. Did you see the water hose in that video on the ground? Do you remember seeing that?
Yes, I do.
Was the water hose out?
Obviously, in the video, but I don't specifically remember that, but I can look in that video and see it.
Right.
But that's not something that I noticed.
So, but you've seen it in the video here.
Yes, sir.
Right, okay. And then the two dogs were out.
Absolutely. Bubba and Grady.
Okay. And then you head back. How did you get back to the house?
The same route I'd come on. I came down the driveway, made a left on. You saw my route in the car. I drove that same route.
My question obviously wasn't clear enough. What were you in a vehicle? You walked? What mode of transportation did you use to get back to the house?
Same way I came. I went back in the golf cart, and it was the golf cart. If you remember that Mark Ball testified that he saw where we normally would park it. You pull along the front entrance, and either you come in from the left and you'd go just past it and be on the right, or you'd come in from the right and you'd be just past it on the left. And that's where I got in it, and that's where I put it back.
Did you do anything else before leaving after you took the chicken out of Bubba's mouth?
No.
We've heard about Bubba being stubborn. How long did it take you to get chicken out of Bubba's mouth?
Well, Bubba could be stubborn, but Bubba would listen to me. And another thing, when Bubba had on that collar, one of the other features of that collar was...
What did Bubba have on the collar, or was it Grady?
Bubba had on the collar.
Bubba had the collar.
I know Bubba had a collar on, and I'm not sure about Grady.
Okay, go ahead.
If I misspoke on that, there's no question about it. Bubba had on a collar. I assume Grady did too, but I didn't. Even though I saw Grady, I didn't notice for a fact that Grady had on a collar.
Okay.
But he probably did.
So
Makes sense to me that he did.
How long did it take to get the chicken out of Bubba's mouth?
It didn't take long. Number one, Bubba's coming back there to show me, hey, I caught this chicken. So he's not running from me. He's proud of that fact that he caught this chicken. So he comes right up to me. Bubba was really strong, but you take your thumb when the dog's clenched and his mouth's a little bit open. All you do is you take your thumb and you push his gum in really tight against those sharp teeth, and his mouth opens right up. Took the chicken out and put it on, I believe, the portable dog kennel.
And then left.
And then I left.
Then leave. Okay. And did you go back to the house?
I went straight back to the house, to the air conditioner.
And what did you do when you got back to the house?
I lay down on the couch.
And then what? Was the TV on when you went back?
Yeah, the TV never got cut off.
So you went back to the house, you laid down on the couch, and then what happened next?
I'm not positive I dozed off for a minute or didn't doze off for a minute, but I got up off of the couch, and I made up my mind I was going to visit my mom.
Had you spoken to Barbara Mixon earlier in the day?
I did.
And,
I talked to Barbara most days. If I didn't see her, I talked to her.
And what was your understanding of your mother's condition late on the afternoon of the 7th?
She was agitated, which she got agitated when we were putting my dad in the hospital. He had a lot, over the 18 months, 2 years, my dad was in the hospital. He was in the hospital a lot. And I believe my mom knew when my dad wasn't there, because she would get agitated. That's the only term you can think of. She'd get agitated. She'd cry a lot. She'd be fussy when she normally wouldn't be fussy. I know Alzheimer's patients are unpredictable, but I'm convinced she knew, because it happened frequently. And Barbara Ann told me, your mom's agitated, you need to check on her. I gave her medicine, she's resting, so it wasn't anything urgent, but she's resting. So what Barbara would do, and Barbara could handle her better than my mama. We all love Barbara. My mama loved Barbara. Barbara could get my mom to do things that nobody else, when she'd fuss for anybody else, including me or my brothers or my sisters, Barbara could get her order. But Barbara had given her medicine and to settle her down and calm her down. And that would sometimes make her go to sleep for a little while. But then she'd be agitated when she woke up.
So did you go check on your mom?
I did.
Where did you park when you got there?
You saw the pictures. There's 2 exits off of that deck. One of them to the right, one of them straight out that back door. I would have parked to the left. If you're coming down these steps, if these are the steps, it would be to the left and back over there.
All right.
Which is where I always parked, or where we always parked, anytime you were going in that entrance.
All right. I want to stop there and ask Doug, if you don't mind pulling up State's Exhibit 524, which is the GM OnStar data, and slide 38, which is in evidence. Can you see this slide with those dots?
Yes, sir.
Alec?
I can.
And the red dots here seem to be joined. Where is that in relation to your parents' house?
Where the arrow is?
Yes, sir.
All right, that's back in the area where I'm talking about. All right, so if you look in this picture, all right, you see you see the open area with the green grass? That's the front door. Okay, yeah, right where that circle is. That's the front door. If you look closely at the house, you can see a big dormer right in the middle of the roof. That's right over the front door. The white thing to the left of the house, that's a parking pad where the driveway ends. And there's a parking pad. If you follow the driveway all the way to the house, you're going to run straight into a carport. All right, by the carport door. Just to the left, before you get to the carport, is this area that you can see here. That's part driveway, mainly parking pad.
All right, Doug, if you'll pull up Defendant's Exhibit 130, which is in evidence, please, sir.
Yeah.
And from this photo, can you point out roughly where you parked that evening?
All right, this is the entrance to the right that I'm talking about. There's an exit and an entrance right in front of that door that you see there. So if you came down those steps, walk to your left, would be down there would be where I parked.
Oh, would you have parked on the grass?
You get on the edge of the grass back there. There's some grass there for sure, but it's not the area up here by the house where it's sodded and
sure.
This grass that you can really see in this picture. So it may be on the edge of the grass, yes.
In relation to the satellite dish, are you looking at this photo, are you to the right of that?
Yeah, you'd be to the right of that satellite dish.
Okay.
Yes.
And
I believe that satellite dish is right on the edge of there's a hedge, and you see I don't know what you call it, a border where the grass ends and the flower bed or whatever it is starts.
Right.
I think you can't see it, but I think that satellite's probably close to that border.
All right, well,
So it'd be to the right of that in this picture.
Doug, will you pull up a Defendant's Exhibit 134, see if this is a... So
Yeah.
is the door that you're talking about...
That's it.
The stairs, are those the ones where you would enter?
Right. These are the steps that I used that night that we always used. And one of the reasons being is my dad, this door goes into what we call the breakfast room. The breakfast room leads right into the kitchen. And so straight through this door, all of the breakfast room is kind of to the left. That door goes straight through another doorway. There's no door there, but it's an opening. it goes into the kitchen. Immediately to your right of that entrance into the kitchen is the entrance into where my mom and dad's rooms were. So if you went through that door, you were in a little area that had my mom's closet, my dad's closet. A little bit further, you go into my mom's bedroom. If you went to the right, you would go, my dad and my mom didn't sleep in the same room at this point, but their bedrooms were, they were back to back. There was a door going from one to the other that was blocked, but it was there, and then there was a bathroom. So this is really the part of the house that at their age was getting used. So that's why you went in this entrance, because my mom and whoever was caring for her was always in her bedroom, which would be on the other side of the room that has these windows that you see to the right. All right, those would be the windows for the room where my dad slept.
Right.
And then my mom's right on the other side. The kitchen's right there. This is the part of the house they were always in.
And are you the only one that would pull up in the back like that?
No.
Is it common for your brothers and your sister to do the same?
Oh, we all did it. We all parked in the same way. If you knew you were going to the front of the house, or if you knew there was a crowd there, or for whatever, you may park on the driveway, but if you knew, under normal circumstances, my dad always stayed in the breakfast room where he had a recliner and a TV. That's where my dad always was. My dad you would never go catch him sitting in the den up front or in a living room. He wasn't up there. He was in this room watching TV, or either he was on this back deck. And my mom was either in her room, which was off of that, or she might be in the kitchen or the breakfast room.
And when you got to the house, who was there? Your mother's house on the night of June 7th.
My mom was there, and Shelley Smith was there.
And what did you do when you got there?
The first thing I did was I knocked on the door. The door was locked. I knocked on the door. Shelley didn't hear me.
And then what'd you do next?
I called.
Called what?
I called my mom's house to let Shelley know I was there. Please come let me in.
Okay. And is that the house phone that's been referred to?
Yes.
Okay. And did she let you in?
Sure.
And then what happened next?
I went in and I visited with my mom. You want me to go into detail on that?
What, briefly? Yeah, what'd you do?
I went in the house. In my mom's bedroom, my mom had a bed that was where she slept in normal times. It was a bed with the poles coming out of the corner, a poster bed that coming out of the corners. And she had a bed like that where she slept, but she didn't sleep there anymore. But it was in the room. It was a hospital bed. So when you walked in the room, her bed was to the right. Against the wall to the left was a hospital bed, like a single bed, but a hospital bed, and a TV. And then there was a recliner where whoever was helping her would usually sit. So I went in and I sat down on my mom's hospital bed. And I talked to her for a minute. My mom was awake. And I held her hand, and
What kind of condition was she in?
her condition was not good at any time, but given her overall condition, she seemed to be doing pretty well. She wasn't agitated like I thought she would be, or like I was worried she would be, or like Barbara had described her at that point. So she wasn't agitated. And I just talked to her. We talked to my mom. We always tried to be real positive and upbeat, and I just talked to her. Made sure she was okay.
Did you stay seated on the side of her hospital-style bed, or did you move around?
I stayed there for a few minutes. I stayed there and I talked to her more than just a few seconds.
Right.
And then, but I didn't stay there. She did look tired. So I got up and I went and I think I sat on my mom's bed for a minute to start with, and then I laid down on my mom's bed, that's what I normally did when I went in there. There wasn't like a lot of chairs to sit in. and I just laid back on the bed.
Now, when you
Talked
talk,
to Shelley, and we watched TV.
now, when you're talking about your mom's bed, are you referring to her regular bed?
That's right. Not her hospital bed, not the bed she was in, but her bed, the one I was talking about with like posts.
Right. And let me skip something. Was Maggie planning to go over to your mother's with you that night?
No, she wasn't planning to go with me that night.
Okay.
No, in fact, Maggie didn't really like to visit my mom. She loved to visit my dad, and she loved to spend time with my dad. And she spent a lot of time with my mom when my mom was healthy, but by this point, my mom, she was a shell of her old self. And it was kind of sad to go and visit her anytime. She wasn't healthy. And Maggie didn't like to go and just visit my mom.
When you left Moselle to head to Alameda the evening after you'd gone back to the house at Moselle,
Say that again, Jim?
what exit did you use of the Moselle property when you're going to Alameda on the evening of June 7th?
I went out the main gates, which would be straight ahead. You've heard of the two gates. There's the shop entrance. There's actually several entrances, but the main ones we used, there was an entrance by the Dove Field, there was an entrance further down by Sawtooth Oaks, but the main ones we used were the shop entrance and what we call the main entrance, where the brick gates were.
Did you go? Why didn't you go by the kennels on your way out?
There wasn't a reason to go by the kennels at that point, and I was going to Alameda, which the main gate would be the gates that were closer. Did
you notify Maggie in some form that you were leaving to go to see your mom?
I tried to call her.
And did she answer?
No.
And what'd you do after that?
I think I tried to call her again.
And did she answer?
No, she didn't answer. And at some point, I texted her after that.
Well, the fact that she didn't answer on 2 times, did that concern you?
At that time,
right,
it didn't concern me at all. Number one, she was with Paw Paw. So, no. Number two, it's not unusual to not be able to get somebody all the time when they're at the house or they're on the property. You've heard all the testimony about how spotty cell service was. So, no, at the time, it didn't strike me as anything unusual.
Okay. Now, moving back to Alameda, you spent time with your mother, and then you left to head back to Moselle. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Did you drive straight back to Moselle?
I did.
Now, Alec, there's some information from the telemetry data off your Suburban and perhaps some of this OnStar GPS data that indicates that at some point in time in your mother's driveway, you stopped for about a minute. Do you recall seeing that data?
I did.
What were you doing when you stopped? Do you recall?
I was getting my phone. My phone had gotten, there was a console in the middle of my car, and my phone had gotten down in the console, between the console and the seat, where you couldn't get to it.
Okay. Were you, during that minute or however long it was, were you disposing of murder weapons, Alec?
No.
Were you disposing of bloody clothes?
No.
And your ride back to were you driving faster than normal?
I was driving however I drive, normal way that I drive.
Okay. When you got back to the Moselle property, how did you enter the property? What entrance did you use?
Came right back through the main gate.
And what'd you do then?
Went straight to the house.
And when you got to the house, what'd you do?
I went inside.
Were lights on when you pulled up? Or?
Lights were on in the house for sure. I can't remember if there were floodlights on or not. I don't believe there were any floodlights on, but there were definitely lights. All the All the lights in the house were on, yes.
And how long did you stay inside the house, roughly?
Now that I've seen the benefit of these records, I was in there several minutes.
Obviously, were you surprised that Paul and Maggie had not made it back to the house?
I don't know if surprised is the right word, but I thought they would have been back by then.
Right.
But did it cause me to go into any? It wasn't like I was shocked. But I thought they would be there. I distinctly remember I went and looked. Sometimes I was very hot-natured. Number one, I was hot, I was heavy, and I was taking pills. So I was always hot. Maggie was always cold. Sometimes she would watch TV. We had a TV in the hunting room. You see on the wall there. Sometimes Maggie would be in there watching TV where she could have the thermostat different than we always kept it cold in the main part of the house. So I know I went in there and looked in there for her. It's not unusual for Maggie to be taking a bath and be not able to hear me. So I went back there and I know I did those two things and looked in those two places. And they weren't there. And so I knew they'd been at the kennels, and I assumed they were still up there.
So what'd you do?
I went to the kennels. I may have tried to call them. In fact, I probably did try to call them. I would think I called them, but as I sit here right now, I'm not positive, but I would think I did. Would think I tried to call them to see.
And now, did you drive down to the kennels in your Suburban?
I did.
And what'd you see?
Saw what y'all have seen pictures of. So bad. Can I have some water? Yeah, I went to...
Did you see them on the ground when you're pulling up in your Suburban?
I did.
And what'd you do when you came to a stop, Alec?
I think I jumped out of my car. I'm not exactly sure what I did, but no, I got out of my car. I know I ran back to my car, called 911. I called 911. I was on the phone with 911, and I was trying to tend to Pawpaw. I was trying to tend to Maggie. And I went back and forth between them.
Were you going to Paul and Maggie while you were on the phone with the 911 operators?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And in a little bit, I'm going to play the 911 tape, but I want to ask you, and you've told law enforcement that's been played here in the court, what did you do when you went up to Paul at some point in time?
And Paul was so bad. At some point, I know I tried to check him for a pulse. I know I tried to turn him over.
When you say you tried to turn him over, why were you trying to turn him over?
I don't know. I don't know why I tried to turn him over. Me and my boys laying face down. And he's done the way he's done. His head was the way his head was. I could see his brain laying on the sidewalk. I didn't know what to do. I tried to turn him over. I grabbed him by the belt loop and tried to turn him over. And when I did, his phone popped out. And I just picked it up and I put it right back there.
Do you have any idea how it popped out?
I know it came out of his pocket when I pulled on his belt loop. When I pulled him to turn him over. And it just popped out and it popped right beside him. It sat right beside him.
Were you able to turn Paul at all?
I didn't. I don't know if I was able to. I didn't turn him over. No.
What side of Paul were you when you were doing this?
I was on the side that was away from where my car was.
Okay. What'd you do with the phone?
I put it back on Pawpaw.
Do you know if you put it, which way it was pointing, upside down, downside, anyway?
I couldn't tell you anything about it. I know his phone popped out. I picked it up and I put it back on him.
Did you see any messages on Paul's phone?
No.
Did you go to Maggie?
I did.
Did you touch her?
I did.
Where did you touch Maggie?
I think I touched her down. Just around like, I don't know. If you ask me exactly, I think I touched her down around her waist, but I don't know. It was so bad. Excuse me. I know I went back and forth. I went back and forth between them. I know I did.
I'd like to play, Doug, the Colleton County portion of the 911 call, which is in evidence as Defendant's Exhibit Number 9. And Doug, this is the long version, the first clip, and stop it when I say stop it, please.
2021, 22 hours, 7 minutes, 9 seconds.
I'm still here, okay?
County Communications.
Congressman, I have an Alex Murdaugh on the line, caller from 4147 Murdaugh Road. He's advising that his wife and child was shot.
Okay, and sir, give me the address again.
It's 4147 Moselle Road. I've been up to it now. It's bad.
Okay, how did they shoot?
Alec, when you say I've been up to it now and it's bad, what are you referring to?
I'm talking about what I saw was what y'all saw pictures of. It was bad. It was terrible.
And when I first got there, I know I got out of the car. I know I got out of the car. I knew. I got out of the car, but right at first, I don't think I went all the way to them. I think I ran back, and that's when I called 911. I called 911, and while I was doing that, then is when I went to Maggie, and I went to Paul. That's what I think I'm talking about.
Okay. Keep going, please.
Oh, no. Up to it now. It's bad.
Okay, how did they shoot? Did they shoot themselves?
Oh, no. Hell no.
Okay, and are they breathing?
No, ma'am.
Okay, and you said it's your wife and your son?
My wife and my son.
Are they in a vehicle?
No, ma'am. They're on the ground out at my kennel.
Okay, and did you see anyone?
He shot in the head, and he shot really bad. He shot
Okay, where is he shot at?
Ma'am, I don't know, but there's blood everywhere. I see his brain face down. I tried to turn her a little bit, but she's got a hole in her head.
Okay, is he breathing at all?
No,
Is she? Okay, do you see anything? Do you see anyone in the area?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. No.
Is there any guns near them at all?
No, there's here.
What color is your house on the outside?
If that's what you're asking, they didn't shoot themselves, ma'am.
What?
Alec, right in there, you say the word here. What, are you calling anybody or anything?
No, I'm talking to that dispatcher.
And what did you mean when you said here?
If you listen to that call, one of the first things she asked me was, did they shoot themselves? And I knew there's no way. I knew they didn't shoot themselves. There wasn't a gun. They didn't shoot themselves. And she'd asked me that. And then she asked me another question, something about that. And you hear me say here, and then you hear the thing talking. I'm telling her here, and then I say something, and then you hear me say, if that's what you're asking. And I'm letting her know they didn't shoot themselves. I'm saying here, and then I give her an explanation, which you can't hear on that phone, but it's obvious to me what I'm doing. And I say, if that's what you're asking me. So David Owens asked me on August 11th, did I call a dog or was I talking to somebody? There was no dog that was out, and there was nobody there.
Talk about that briefly. When you got there and you saw Maggie and Paul, where were the dogs?
The dogs were in the kennels. Dogs were in the kennels. They were wherever they were when law enforcement got there.
And you've seen pictures, and they called Dale Davis to the stand and talk about the hose rolled up. Did you roll the hose up?
No.
Did you do anything down there at the kennels when you got there other than call 911 and attend to Maggie and Paul?
No. I do know that I was trying to find a flashlight. I was trying to find a gun. Other than those things, no, I didn't do anything at the kennel. I didn't do anything with any hose. I didn't do anything with any dogs.
Was there anybody with you?
No.
All right, keep going, please.
It's white. You can't see it from the road.
Okay, is it a house or a mobile home?
It's a house.
Okay, and what is your name?
My name is Alex Murdaugh.
Okay, did you hear anything, or did you come home and find them?
I've been gone. I just came back.
Okay, and was anyone else supposed to be at your house?
No, ma'am. Please hurry.
We're getting somebody out there to you.
Oh, should have known.
Alec, we just heard you say, I should have known. What are you referring to?
I said, Paw, I should have known.
What were you referring to?
I was referring to Paw got so many threats, didn't take serious, think twice about. So I'm just telling him, Paw, I should have known. I won't specifically remember saying that, but I can clearly hear myself say that.
What kind of threats did you understand Paul was receiving?
Paul got the most vile threats, the stuff that was on social media. It was, you couldn't believe it. You couldn't believe it. It was so over the top. Truthfully, we didn't think anything about it. It was just so crazy that we just, people talking about what he was going to get and how they were going to do this and get him. And it's stuff you really, we disregarded it because it's so over the top. Thought it's so over the top.
Keep going, please, Doug.
Okay, what is her name?
Maggie and Paul.
Maggie is her name?
Yes, ma'am.
When's the last time you talked to Maggie?
Hour and a half ago, probably 2 hours ago.
What? Okay, you said about 2 hours ago you talked to them?
Approximately, yes, ma'am, approximately.
So, Alec, you were asked the last time you saw them, and you said an hour and a half to 2 hours ago, and then she followed up 2 hours ago. You just heard that?
I did hear that, and I said approximately to her question.
When was the last time you saw them, Maggie and Paul?
Right after I took the chicken from Bubba.
And the video we've seen is timestamp 8:44 p.m. Is that correct?
That's right.
So was it shortly after 8:44?
It was. It wasn't long after that, because you can hear when Bubba gets the chicken, and it wasn't long after I took the chicken from him that I left.
And then you called 911. There are records of that, but do you remember roughly 9:07 or right before 9:07?
I've seen the records and seen the transcripts, yeah.
And then this is, and the records of this, but this is some minutes into the conversation with 911 operators, correct?
That's right.
Knowing everything we know now, was it roughly an hour and a half the last time you saw him?
It was. That would, with the time of however long it took to get to this point, however many minutes that is 10:10 to 10, however many, you can look exactly and see what point this is and know what time it is, but it's between 10 and 10:15. And so I'd seen them around 8:45, a little bit after.
All right, please keep going.
What they were doing at all?
No, I talked to her in person.
You talked to her in person?
And please hurry.
But we're getting somebody out there to you. Me asking you these questions, don't slow them down, okay? And you sure they're not breathing? Is he moving at all, your son? I know you said that she was shot in the head, but what about your son?
Nobody. They're not. Neither one of them.
What is your telephone number?
942-1227. I'm going back to my house just to get a gun just in case. I'm about a...
Did you go back to the house and get a gun?
I did.
And is this the gun that you got? And how did you load this gun? What did you load it with, if anything?
That was gun, as best I can remember. I believe I got that gun off the pool table where you heard there were some other guns. I think that gun was laying with that pool table. I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure it was on that pool table. That would have been the first place I came to. I know I was grabbing the first gun I could get. I grabbed a handful of shells out of that I could get my hands on. I know the gun had a shell in it that I loaded, and I know I had a few shells. So,
Have you seen in this case where there was a 16 gauge shell put in that gun?
I've seen in the records and I've seen heard in the testimony that I put a 16 gauge shell in the gun.
Is that a 16 gauge shotgun?
It's not a 16 gauge shotgun. It's a
Why'd you
12
put
gauge.
a 16 gauge shell in it?
I obviously didn't realize what I was doing. I know you can't put a 16 gauge shell in a 12 gauge gun and I've been hunting my whole life. I know you can't do that. That's not a mistake I would have made. That's not a mistake I'd have made under any circumstances other than that night.
Why did you go back to the house to get a gun?
I just didn't know. I didn't know.
Saw it, Dee?
I don't know.
It was just, I didn't know if somebody was still out there.
I don't know. I guess I didn't know.
Please keep going.
And does anything look out of place?
Ma'am, not particularly, really, no ma'am.
Okay.
Go back to where he said he's going to my house to get a gun just a few seconds back. 10 seconds maybe.
I know you're upset, Mr. Murdaugh, but I don't want you to get a gun and have a gun out whenever my officers get there, okay?
Back up some more. Back up some more, please.
Okay. Just to get a gun just in case.
What is your telephone number?
942-1227. I'm going back to my house just to get a gun just in case. I'm about 100 yards from my house.
Alec, you said you're about 100 yards from the house.
That's what I said.
Is it much further than that?
As you've heard in the testimony, it's 1,100 and something feet, but
Okay.
I said I was 100 yards.
You were wrong about your estimate?
I'm sure I was wrong.
Okay. Keep going.
And does anything look out of place?
Ma'am, not particularly, really, no ma'am.
Okay. Well, I know you're upset, Mr. Murdaugh, but I don't want you to get a gun and have a gun out whenever my officers get there, okay?
I will not do that. He's been being threatened by, my son had a boat wreck. He's been being threatened for months and months and months. He's been hit several times, and...
Do you know who was threatening your son?
Hold the phone. 1 second.
And you don't know the name of who was threatening him at all?
My son knows. And my son knows.
Your son knows who was threatening him?
I have another son now.
Okay.
All right, I'm going back down there.
All right. Roll to the next tape of the same call.
2021, 22 hours, 13 minutes, 58 seconds.
Are they close, ma'am?
Yeah, they've been around with you ever since you've got on the phone with me. I have multiple people coming out there to you.
This is...
Okay, can you do me a favor, Mr. Murdaugh, and turn on the flashers on your car so that way they can see where the kennels are? Do you have your flashers on for me, Mr. Murdaugh?
Yes.
Okay. I don't want you to touch them at all, okay? I don't know if you've already touched them, but I don't want you to touch them just in case they can get any kind of evidence, okay?
I already touched them trying to get up to see if they were breathing.
No, Alec, that second clip starts at 22:13, 10:13, 58, and you're asked, you're told don't touch them. Had you touched them by then?
Yes.
And that way you told the 911 operator.
It is.
And can you say exactly during that 6-7 minutes when you actually touched them?
I know I touched Maggie. I touched Maggie several times, but I think I didn't. I don't think I touched Pawpaw, but 2 times.
Did you touch one or both of them before you got in the car and drove back to the house?
Yes. Yeah.
One or both? Do you know?
Both.
All right, keep going, please.
Okay. Well, I just don't want you to move anything just in case they can get any kind of evidence, okay? Okay. And did your son, I know you said that he had been threatened, did your son make reports of this at all?
Yes, ma'am.
He did?
Al, you informed the 911 operator that Paul had made reports of these threats. What are you referring to?
I mean, I just know that it had been reported. I don't know that. I don't believe there was any formal police reports or that type of thing, but it had been reported and it was well known.
Okay. So were you saying he had filed some official report when you said yes?
No, I never thought there was a police report or some formal report like that. No.
Do you know whether or not he made some type of report on campus?
Oh, I know he did.
What do you know?
I know that there was a time when he was asked to come meet with, I can't even remember the gentleman's name now, but I appreciated it so much that I never thought I'd forget it. But
Is it part of student counseling service?
yeah, he was the dean of students. He reached out to Pawpaw and wanted to talk to him. And at first we were concerned, why they want to talk to him? And even, I believe I had Paul come talk to you about that because we were concerned, what are they going to talk to him about? But when Paul and Jim got there, it turns out that it was really, they were wanting to make sure he was okay. And I know that they were aware of the threats, some level of threats, and yeah, it had already been reported to them.
Keep going, Doug.
And what's your son's name?
Paul,
Paul?
ma'am, I'm going to call. I need to call some of my family.
Okay.
On this.
Do me a favor for me. Whenever you see the officer or the medics, because they're all coming to you, can you put your gun in your vehicle for me?
Absolutely.
Okay. But we have them come in, turn on the flashes on your vehicle so they can see you, okay? You got the flashes on for me?
I did.
Okay. All right. Whenever you see them, put your gun up for me, okay?
Okay.
How old is your son?
22.
Okay. All right. We're getting them out there to you, okay? All right.
So, Alec, did you call family after you got off the call with the operator?
Yes.
Who'd you call?
I know I called my brother Randy. I know I called my brother John. And I know I tried to call Roro. Roro's not family, but I called Randy and John. And I called Randy and John.
And then you mentioned Rodo? You mean?
Rogan. We called him Roro. I called him Roro.
Why did you try to call Rogan?
Rogan's house was, I don't know, as the crow flies, maybe 2.5 miles, 3 miles. Rogan was like family.
Did you think he was the closest person?
Yeah, I wanted somebody to be out there.
Had you seen Rogan's name on Paul's phone in any way that night?
No.
You called. Did Rogan answer?
No.
Did you try him multiple times?
Looking at these records, I believe that I did, but I believe some of those are the FaceTime calls that are to Rogan. I'm trying to call him, but I don't believe that was me, actually. I didn't FaceTime people, so I think that's either me trying to call him and hitting FaceTime, or that's me hitting buttons or hitting the phone.
In the State's Exhibit 519, which is the condensed timeline done by Agent Rudovsky, there's an indication, Alec, that at 10:22:09, you opened a group text message from Michael Gunn stating, "She brought the heat from Miami boys." Were you reading text messages from Michael Gunn right after you got off with the 911 operator?
I heard them ask that question. I can promise you I wasn't reading any text messages.
There's also an entry, Alec, that says at 10:40 p.m. that you did a Google search or a Safari browser search for Whaley's at Edisto while your wife and son are laying dead on the ground. Did you do that?
No. Whaley's is a restaurant at Edisto that we ate at a lot of times. We got takeout from a lot of times, so I'm assuming it was in my search history, pulling up the restaurant, and I obviously was trying to call people or dialing, and I hit that. I wasn't doing any Google searches.
And is one of the persons that you dialed that night a wedding photographer?
It's a guy named Brian White. I saw that on the call log. Brian White's a guy who was in my, contacts, that is a videographer that I've used in cases. I haven't used him in 2 years. And he's a good guy, but we're not personal friends, so I certainly wasn't calling him.
So were you, what does that indicate to you, that those actions on your phone, how do you account for that?
Obviously they're unintentional. I'm doing something with my phone trying to call people, but I'm not trying to call those people. I'm not doing a Google search for any Whaley's restaurant, and I'm certainly not reading any text.
I want to ask you,
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have to go to the jury room for a break of about 10 minutes. Please do not discuss the case. We'll take a 10-minute recess. Step down. We cannot discuss your testimony.
All rise and come to order. Please be seated.
You may bring the jury. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Alec, you've talked about going to Paul's body and Maggie's body. Do you recall getting blood on you, on your hands, or any part of you?
Yes. Okay.
Do you know with whose blood you would have gotten on you?
I know I got blood on my fingertips.
Can you differentiate, whether it was Maggie or Paul?
It's probably both. Except with so much blood. But
There, it turns out there was a drop of blood on the steering wheel of the Suburban. Do you know how that got there?
I mean, if it was fresh, I put it there. If it was not fresh, Maggie drove my car all the time. But I assume it got there from me touching Maggie and then touching the steering wheel that night.
And then I think maybe there's possibly blood on this gun, maybe not. Do you know if you got transferred blood on anything else that night?
If Maggie's blood's on that gun, then I put it there. Maggie didn't really fool with guns other than to put them up.
Did you submit to a GSR examination that night?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier, and that Brian Murdaugh testified about.
Where your hands were swabbed?
That's right.
And then your clothes were collected by, I don't know if it's Agent Owen or someone else?
That's correct.
And turns out there's some GSR on your shirt and on your shorts. And did you handle this gun? This is
Yes.
This is item 22 that.
Yes, I basically had that gun with me until I put it up against my car. When the police officer, I think it was Mr. Green, got there, I put it against my car.
And I think Nolan had testified that this is, one of the shotguns Paul liked to use.
It is.
Was he meticulous about cleaning his guns?
Pawpaw?
Yeah.
No. Now, when he cleaned it, he was meticulous about it, but it was far and few between when he actually cleaned them.
Your shirt went through testing and analysis, and you were part of this case, provided results of that, were you not?
Yes, sir. I wasn't provided at the time. I've seen them
Right.
seen all these records.
Did you get on your shirt high-velocity blood spatter from being within a distance of a shooting Maggie or Paul?
There's no way that I had high-velocity blood spatter on me.
Had you seen reports that said that at one point in time?
I have seen reports that said that.
Just to be clear, were you anywhere in the vicinity when Paul and Maggie were shot?
I was nowhere near Paul and Maggie when they got shot.
After SLED collected your clothing that night at the main residence at Moselle, did you remember changing in? You remember what you changed into?
Do I remember?
Yeah.
I know I changed clothes, and I've learned since then what I had on, but I don't
You don't remember? Okay.
remember that at all. But I understand I had on athletic shorts and a T-shirt.
Sure. Other people have talked about this. I'm not going to repeat it, but where did you spend the night, or where did you go to after leaving Moselle when you left for the evening?
We went to Alameda too. We went to my mom and dad's house, and we stayed there.
And who went with you?
I believe that Bus and Brooklyn and I rode together. John Marvin might have been with us. I know John Marvin stayed at Alameda with us. I just don't know if he rode in the same car we rode in. But I know I rode with Buster and Brooklyn. I know that for a fact.
And the next morning, what'd you do? And we're talking about daylight hours on June the 8th. What did you do?
And we basically got up and came back to Moselle.
Do you remember roughly what time you got to Moselle?
I don't remember. No, I don't remember what time. There's things I remember about that morning, but I don't remember exactly what time we left.
And Alec, we'll get to this in more detail, but during that period of time, is it hard to remember times, what time things started, stopped, and how long things took?
It's definitely hard to remember. Now, looking at these timelines and all these records, it sure helps, but to just do it off the top of my head is very difficult.
Okay, and we'll get to more of that. When you went back to Moselle on the morning of June the 8th, do you know whether you took a shower there, or took a shower at Alameda, or took a shower at all?
Now, I know we took a shower at Moselle. I did not take a shower before I left Alameda. We basically got up and went to Maggie's mom and dad.
They were there?
They were coming to tell them, see them. We got up from Alameda and we left and we went to Moselle.
And do you know? Do you even recall SLED coming in and searching the house for anything on the 8th?
I knew that. I knew they were doing it. Yeah, I knew they were doing it.
Okay.
But I don't remember. I wasn't out in that gun room and see all that video and all that. But I knew SLED was coming in there. We made the house available for them to come in there. So I can't tell you details, but yeah, I remember it.
Did you at one point tell SLED they had carte blanche to search anywhere, anytime?
I told SLED they could do anything, anywhere, anytime that they wanted to. Anything to do with me, my property, my cars. Even though I didn't own the cars, I would get my law firm owned the cars. I would have the people. They had full, whatever they wanted, they were welcome to.
And did you have any discussions with David Owen or anybody at SLED about consenting to General Motors to get that off the car?
Every time that I talked to David Owens, I would ask him about getting OnStar data and GPS data from phones.
And why was it important to you to get OnStar data and GPS data from the phone?
To confirm where I was saying I went, what I did, GPS. At that point in time, I knew that Maggie's phone had been taken, and I knew that my Suburban and my phone and Maggie's phone never crossed paths, and that was extremely important to me. And I asked him about it every single time we talked, every single time.
And speaking of Maggie's phone, did you know her password to her phone?
Yes, I knew her password.
Did you know her password to her computer?
Yes,
Did she know your password?
yes.
Okay. And when Maggie's phone was located on the side of the road, did you provide SLED the password to her phone?
I did. I think I actually provided it to John Marvin, who provided it to SLED, but I'm the one who gave it to him.
Right. And your knowledge, did Maggie's have these location services on her phone? She used them frequently.
All the time. One of Maggie's things that she liked to do was there's that app called Find My Friends that you can see what other people are doing and they can see what you're doing. Maggie loved me, Bus, Pawpaw, Brooklyn, Grandma, Papa T, Marion, the three girls, Lizzie, and there were a few others, but the people that were closest to her, she had them all in her phone, and she loved to look at that phone and see where people are, and she'd love to surprise you. Let's say you're at Walmart, she looks on there, and she'd love to text you, get me a TV from Walmart or something. She follow you and see where you were. She used it all the time. And I knew that there would be GPS data on Maggie's phone.
When you're being interviewed on the night of June 7th and again on June the 10th, what was your understanding as to why they were interviewing you? Why were you being interviewed?
On June the 7th and June the 10th?
Yes, sir.
What's the question again?
What is his understanding of why SLED was interviewing him on the night of June the 7th and again on June the 10th?
And the basis for the objection?
401 and 402, Your Honor.
What do you mean?
Relevance, Your Honor. His understanding is not important. What he said is important, Your Honor.
Response.
Well, I can, it goes to his follow, it goes to his state of mind. That's what it goes to.
Objection sustained.
Why was it important to you to be able to get data from the Suburban, data from your phone, and data from Maggie's phone?
I knew at that point in time, I knew since I was the person who found Pawpaw and Mags that I was a suspect. They kept talking about this circle. I knew that. It was very important for me to find that, to get that.
And what was your belief as to that information? What would it have done for you?
There's no question in there that it would demonstrate that I couldn't have done this.
And when was the data from General Motors off that Suburban finally obtained?
It was either this past Saturday or the Saturday before that, according to what was said in this courtroom.
During this trial?
Absolutely.
And to your knowledge, was GPS data ever able to be located off Maggie's phone?
Not just to my knowledge, it was not able to be gotten. And, you know, the testimony was in here that it couldn't be gotten. It only went back to June the 9th. Everything before that was erased on Maggie's phone.
Now, when starting June the 8th, when that Moselle, did a lot of people come to support you, be with you on June the 8th?
On June the 8th,
Yes,
like the next day?
Right.
Yes, sir. A lot of people.
And you mentioned your Maggie's parents and family came as well?
Yes, sir.
From that moment, June 8th, when folks, family came and to Bell and you met with them, were you left alone by any of your family members the rest of that week?
No, I mean, I was attached to Buster at the hip, but, I mean,
And what
no,
happened on?
I wasn't.
And what happened on June the 10th, besides being interviewed by SLED?
My dad died. My dad passed.
And where did you stay, and with whom did you stay on the night of June the 8th, the night of June the 9th, the night of June the 10th?
On the night of June, you asked me to start on the 8th?
The 8th, yes, sir.
All right, starting on the 8th, I stayed with Buster every night. I stayed with Buster, and as long as Brooklyn was there, I stayed with Buster in Brooklyn. But we stayed with, I'm pretty sure that's beginning on the 8th. I know the 7th we stayed at Alameda, and I believe on the 8th we started staying at John Marvin and Lizzie's at Greenfield.
And how far is Greenfield from Alameda?
As the crow flies, I mean, it's no distance. It's less than 5 minutes. It's probably few minutes away.
And who stayed there? Did John Marvin and his wife Liz stay there as well?
Yes, John and Lizzie. All right, John and Lizzie stayed there, and their kids, Bus and Brooklyn and I. I know Bubba and May stayed there. Well, Lizzie's mom and daddy stayed there. And my daddy's best friend and his wife came in there. I believe they came before my daddy passed. I know they came after he passed and stayed there.
And how many nights do you recall staying there at Greenfield?
So I stayed at Greenfield. The 7th was a Monday. I stayed Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at Greenfield. I know that for a fact.
And the Maggie and Paul's funeral was Saturday, is that right?
Now, I heard that in this courtroom say it was Saturday, but
Is it a memorial service?
nah, their funeral was on Friday.
Oh, it was on Friday.
I know that for a fact, too.
And then your father's funeral was on Sunday?
My father's funeral was on Sunday, and it was my father's funeral. I forget the term, but Sunday. That's when we put Papa and Mags. That's when we buried him. We didn't bury him when we had the service on Friday, because I don't think they were done. But that's when we buried them, along with my dad, on Sunday.
And Alec, what'd you do with the following week, that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday?
Starting when now?
So the day after your dad's funeral?
All right, Monday, I went to Grandma and Papa T's, Somerville.
At some point Monday?
In the afternoon. You mean what did I do when I got up that morning?
Yeah, where did you stay?
We stayed at Greenfield Sunday night. So we woke up at Greenfield on Monday.
So, and Sunday night you were with the same family members, your brother, and Brooklyn, and Buster, and...
That's right.
Okay. And Liz?
And Lizzie, and Lizzie's mom and dad. And I believe Donnie and Paula were still there, but I can't remember when they left.
And then you went to Somerville with whom?
I believe I went to Somerville by myself, but I know Buster in the car by myself. I can't remember if Buster and I rode together, but I think we might have had separate cars. We probably did ride together that first day. I don't remember, but I know I went to Somerville and Buster was in Somerville with me, with Grandma and Papa T.
And Somerville is where Maggie's parents live?
That's right. That's Maggie's mom and dad. Maggie's mom is Grandma, and Maggie's dad's Papa T.
And did you stay with them for a few days? In Somerville?
I stayed with them longer. In Somerville, yeah, I stayed with them. We stayed in Somerville Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, and then we went to Greenville.
Okay. And what was in Greenville?
My niece. She was having a baby, and Maggie had she's just been so excited. She's just so proud of those girls. She was so excited about the baby. And so the baby being born just became such a big deal to me.
So was the baby born?
Yeah.
Okay. And you went up?
born, beautiful little baby girl, beautiful little mom.
And then did you go up to the lake after that?
We did. We stayed, this lake, Kiowee, that y'all heard about, is really close to Greenville. And so when I say we went to Greenville, we really went to Lake Kiowee. But we went up there because when she had the baby, I want to say the baby might have gotten born shortly after we got there, like Thursday, but I think it was Saturday before we could go and see them and see my niece and see the baby. So that's where we went, was to Lake Kiowee.
All right.
But they live in Greenville.
On the morning of June 16th, I think that was that Wednesday. I think that's a Wednesday. Where'd you wake up?
Somerville.
Did you ever go to Alameda on that day?
On Wednesday?
Yes, sir.
I don't believe so.
Did you go to Alameda at 6:30 in the morning on the?
I know for a fact that I didn't go to Alameda at 6:30 in the morning. I was in Somerville. I didn't go to Alameda at any point early in the morning. I was in Somerville, and I'm not positive about this, but I know those. I know they did I know some of those records they have. It was sometime before I left Somerville.
Okay. Did you ever take during that week? Let's just start with that week following your dad's funeral. Did you ever take a tarp into the house at Alameda? A tarp, a blue tarp.
The week following my dad's funeral?
Yes, sir.
No, I did not.
There's been, I don't know where it is in any of these boxes, but this blue rain jacket. Have you ever seen that before?
Never seen it before, never touched it, and don't know anything about it.
Okay. Did you ever remember taking a tarp at any point in time over to the house at Alameda?
No, I don't remember it. I don't remember taking a tarp over there, but Shelley's got something in her mind about that, and there may have been some point, but I certainly don't remember it. And it certainly wasn't any time around my dad's funeral or the weeks following.
I think we talked briefly about your recollection of times, and
Okay.
and I want to play Doug from State's Exhibit 517, which is the August 11th interview, starting at 5 minutes and 52 seconds. If you could pull that clip up, and I want you to listen to this. Now,
Okay. Tell me again what it is.
it's August 11th interview, starting at 5 minutes and 52 seconds.
All right.
Can you go to 5 minutes and 52 seconds?
Who was at your house when you left, and what time did you go to the office?
We have been.
Who was at your house when you left, and what time did you go to the office?
We had been to a ball game that weekend. I don't remember exactly what time. It would have been somewhere between 8:30 and 9:30, probably.
Okay.
10 o'clock maybe, at the latest.
Okay.
Something like that.
Al, on this tape, were you being asked when you went to work on the 7th?
Yes.
And you said 8:30 to 9:30 in the morning?
And then I think it said 10 o'clock at the latest.
Is that correct?
No, it wasn't.
Now you've seen all these records. What does it look like? What time you went to work on the 7th?
A little afternoon.
All right. If we'll go to the Doug States Exhibit 243, which is the June 10 interview.
Mr. Griffin, on that same date, though, I also, if you play that thing, and I don't know if it's right then, but if you play that further, I also told him the best way to see exactly when I went in that door is to go and get my information from my law firm. And I told them that we have how things are electronic now, where you don't have a key, you have a key card. And you have a key card in your wallet. And so when you use it, it creates like all this other stuff, a digital footprint. And I told David Owens that he could go get it from my office.
And was that a common response of yours when you were asked about specific times, that you would give them your best estimate, but you would point them to where they could find the most accurate data?
Yes, sir.
You did that more than once?
Yes, sir.
So if we've got the June 10th interview, which is State's Exhibit 243, and Doug, I'd like to go to 9 minutes and 59 seconds. And here you're being asked, when did Paul arrive at Moselle?
Roughly what time in the afternoon?
I would think it'd be somewhere in the 5 o'clock range, a little bit. It was broad daylight when we were, it wasn't dusk, dark, or late.
Okay.
And we just rode around. We rode around.
So did you tell him on June 10th that Paul got there at 5 o'clock time period?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I obviously did.
And was that incorrect?
Yes, sir. It was incorrect.
Okay. And what time did you, looking at the records now, what time did it look like Paul actually got there?
And looking at the records, it's clear that he got there sometime around 7 o'clock.
Did at some point in time you have a conversation with Shelley Smith about how long you were over at Alameda on the night of June the 7th? Do you remember?
I don't distinctly remember having a conversation with her about how long I was over there, but I know that I told Shelley Smith that SLED was going to come and talk to her, and that I'd appreciate it if she would talk to them, and that she just needed to tell them the truth.
And did you take extra care not to talk to people that you knew SLED would be talking to?
Absolutely.
And why is that?
After this boat wreck that you've heard so much talk about in this courtroom, there were social media, newspaper. It went deeper than that, but there was so much talk about how I fixed witnesses and structured the investigation, just things that were totally false, that were absolutely baseless, but it was said repeatedly, and it was reported repeatedly how I'd done this and with this witness and influenced this police officer and all these things. So I wasn't taking any chances.
I want to ask you about, you can take that down, Doug. Thank you. Ask you about the August 11th interview with David Owen at the SLED office in, I think, here in Walterboro. Do you remember that?
August 11th, absolutely.
Had you requested that meeting?
I've been requesting, what I'd really been requesting is some information. I've been begging David Owens to come meet with me, and specifically, I wanted Grandma, Papa T. There were so many questions that I couldn't answer. And I've been begging him to meet with me and to meet with Grandma and Papa T. I've been begging him for weeks and weeks.
And when you went into the meeting on August 11th, did you think that's what it was for, to give you an update?
Yes.
And at the conclusion of the meeting, they let you know that you're their prime suspect.
Objection, Your Honor. Not what was said.
Mr. Griffin?
I'll rephrase it. By the conclusion of the meeting, did they make it known to you that you were suspect?
Oh, there's no question about that. Absolutely. Now, he used a lot of, you hear it talk about how I'm in this circle and he can't get me out and this and that, but there's no doubt in my mind. There was no question in my mind what was going on.
And during that meeting, did they show you the Snapchat video of you trying to stand up the fruit tree?
Yes.
And were you questioned about what clothing you were wearing?
And I can't remember this. I can't remember if he showed me the whole video or he showed me a picture of it, but I was definitely showed that information. I was definitely shown those clothes in that meeting on August the 11th.
And what clothes were you wearing?
The same ones you see in...
And do you remember what kind of pants?
It was khaki pants.
And what kind of shirt?
It's a button-down, short-sleeve button-down. I call it a dress shirt, but a short-sleeve button-down dress shirt.
Like Like the shirt you got there, but just short
Just
sleeve?
like this, but short sleeve, and it was colored.
And it was, what color was it?
Blue. Blue with some blue stripes.
And were you questioned about when you changed out of those clothes?
I was.
And did you have a follow-up, did you have a conversation after that meeting with SLED with Blanca about what you were wearing that day?
Absolutely.
And what was the purpose of the conversation with Blanca?
Well, they made an issue about that in that meeting, and I asked Blanca about those clothes that I had on earlier that day.
Did you ask her specifically about the blue shirt?
I asked her specifically about all the clothes.
Okay.
What I asked Blanca about specifically was, did she remember getting my clothes after she came back? When she came back to Moselle, did she remember getting my clothes? Is specifically what I asked her.
I see. And why were you asking her those questions?
Because on August the 11th, they had made an issue about me still wearing those clothes, not having changed clothes when I was in that Snapchat video. So that's why I went to Blanca.
Did they ever ask you on August the 11th whether they asked you for those clothes? Can you produce the clothes? Did they ask you that?
No, they didn't.
Have they ever asked you for those clothes?
No. As far as my understanding goes, my clothes were never an issue in this case until y'all figured out, as my lawyers figured out, that there was no blood spatter on me.
Sir?
Is that objection, Your Honor?
Basis for the objection.
401, 402, and beyond in speculation, Your Honor.
Mr. Griffin?
It's a matter of public record. It's a matter of public record.
What is?
The issues with the shirt and the blood test
It's a matter of public record.
filed in this case, yes, sir.
The objection is overruled.
I'm well aware that my clothes never became an issue in this case until my lawyers proved that this blood spatter that they said I had on my shirt from my wife and my son was a lie, and that there was no blood on my shirt. And once they filed the documents and they proved that that was a lie, all of a sudden the clothes I was wearing back on that day became an issue. And that's in the weeks leading up to this trial.
Now, Alec, after Maggie and Paul were murdered on June 7th and 8th, where did you stay and where did you keep clothes?
All right. Say that again, please.
Where were you staying overnight? Well, let me ask you this. Did you ever spend another night at Moselle after June 7th?
I never spent another night at Moselle.
Why not?
Could've. Didn't want to.
Okay. Where were you staying? Well, we talked about the days and weeks, the week afterwards, but where were you staying when you got back from the Lake Kiowee and Greenville?
I stayed. All right, so when I got back from Greenville, so
Yes.
that would be so the first week up until my dad's funeral, then, all right, so that'd be the second week. All right, so after I know Bus and I stayed with Grandma and Papa T as much as I could. I stayed with my brother Randy a lot. I stayed with my brother John a lot. Bus and I stayed at Edisto a little bit. But at the beginning, I really stayed with either my brother Randy and his wife Christy, or I stayed with my brother John and his wife Lizzie. And basically at that time, Buster worked for Wild Wing at that time, and they had been so kind to him and they let him be off just a ridiculous amount of time. They were so good to him. So he stayed with me. When he had to go back to work, he would stay at my brother John and Lizzie's because it was close. So I would stay with Randy and Christy in Hampton. When Buster was there, I would almost always go to John and Lizzie's when Buster was there. I would go to John and Lizzie sometimes when Buster wasn't there. But Johnny Parker, one of my partners, had a guest house his mother-in-law had lived in when she was sick. That's really, it's right at the foot of Randy's Drive. It's 100 yards, 70 yards from Randy's house. And I was going to move into that house until we figured out where I could live. So I had clothes there. I had clothes at Randy's. I had clothes at John Marvin's. I had clothes at Chichesi, which is, I think you heard Buster talk about Chichesi's, like where we went to the river. And I had clothes there. I had clothes in Somerville. And I still had clothes at Moselle.
So your clothes, yes, sir.
Last question.
No, so were your clothes spread out a lot of different places?
Yes.
All right. Thank you.